The other day I posted my song called Vowel Movement on YouTube, and this was on the Dirtywave M8, and I used these vowel sounds, hence the name of the song, and I promised I'd sort of talk about it a bit and explain how I did it without boring you to death. I'll keep it fairly short. I was inspired to do this by watching Dash Glitch's video. It was one of his streams from earlier in the year, a very, very long stream, but it really caught my attention when he started using the Macrosynth with the vowel sounds. I wasn't quite sure how he was doing it, but after a bit of experimentation, investigation, I kind of got the hang of it. Probably not as good as he does it, but I think I've got enough of a grasp on it whereby I can show you. In case you don't know, the Macrosynth is based on the Braid's Eurorack synth, which is made by Mutable Instruments. The track I did this on was 6, so we'll have a look at chain 60, and I've just put a C4 on the beginning, and if I play this, you can hear what's happening there. You've got the sound being mangled. So if we look in the instrument itself, we can see it's a Macrosynth. In this synth you've got all these different shapes, loads and loads and loads of them, and vowel sound is 16, shape 16, the vowel. Now what I did here, I got a basic sound and then I cloned the instrument many times to get different vowel sounds. It's not perfect, I'm still working on it, but if I play this, so the first time you play it you hear the E sound. That's what I've named this instrument, but with all the colour and timbre being manipulated by the LFOs, it changes on subsequent passes. It's quite interesting. So you can see the timbre is set at 58 and the colour is full on, and it's the timbre that controls the vowel sound and the combination of the colour and the filter which controls the formant, sort of gender and age, and the phonetic quality of the vowel. So basically, you need to faff around till you get something you like. And if I go up to the mods page for this instrument, you can see Modulator 1 is just an ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release envelope set to volume. Mod 2 is another ADSR, but this time it's manipulating the cutoff frequency, which is a low pass filter. And over on the other side, Mod 3 is an LFO, which is manipulating the timbre, and Mod 4 is an LFO manipulating the colour. On the phrase here I put a C4 at the beginning, and then I put a kill effect on step 4 to stop it going on too long, so it cuts it there. Obviously got tons of delay and reverb, and at the end of the phrase I put 3 quick notes here and I put a re-trigger on the first of those, so you get like a ratchet. The way we get that yow sound is by that use of the LFO. So for me it's not an exact science, I'm not a synthesist, I'm not clever like that, but I did come up with something that I liked, so hopefully you like it too. Let's look at another phrase, 63, and if we go into this, and this is just a different vowel sound. Same sort of idea. Those 3 quick notes at the end sound great, don't they? Put it in context. On track 1, phrase 10, did a similar thing, but this time the instrument was, if we look at it, it's vowel FOF, so a similar thing. You can see the timbre and the cutoff moving around, but I've got no LFOs on the other parameters, but you get that movement. So that's not the vowel shape, that is the vowel FOF, which is shape 17. Similar, and the name of that instrument is Vox Pluck. So, like I say, I'm not professing to be some amazing synthesist. I'm really not. But this might give you an inkling on how to do it, and you can probably take this and run with it and make up your own sounds. And it's fascinating, and I love these kind of robot sounds. So that was one part of the song. And then I put this tabla loop on track 7. And if you look at this, just go into phrase 70. And I've done a lot of panning and re-triggering on this. In the actual instrument here, if we look at the edit of this sample, what it was a basic tabla sample. If I press play, you'll hear the whole sample. If we go back to the instrument page, you can see I put slice file. So I sliced it in the file. So what does that actually mean? Well, if we go back to the edit page, and if you look, if I go down to the slice marker and change that to 1, up to 1, right, you can see that's the first slice. If I go to slice 2, I pick that one. If I go to slice 3, I pick this one. And slice 4 was this one, right at the end. So I had 4 slices there. You can see them being highlighted here as I hold edit and write. And then I simply went back to the phrase and I put some notes in using those 4 slices. And I didn't need much to make it sound good. So why would you use slice file rather than slicing it in, I don't know, 16 parts, like I've done in the past? Well, with the slice file, you get very precise editing. You can get exactly the bit you want, and I learnt this from Jeremy Blake, Red Means Recording. I watched one of his videos and gleaned that off that. And that's a very important thing with this instrument. There's loads of videos there, including mine, and you can learn from them. That's exactly what I've done. So that was the tabla loop. Loads of delay and reverb. I'm a bit of a sucker for delay and reverbs, I'm sure you've noticed. In my performance, I used something called Snapshots, and here again I learnt this from someone else. In Mikey 303's video with EasyBot, he showed this off, and this is how it works. If I go to the project page, now if you look, the transpose is set on 0, 0. Now if I hold edit and up, let go of the edit, it's gone up an octave, and I can come down an octave. And I did both of those things in the video. Where it goes up an octave, you get some really lovely tones and different textures, and when it drops an octave, it gets really crunchy and dirty and really, really nice. So that was one thing that I learned from that. But another thing I learned from Mikey 303 was this snapshot thing. So the transpose is on 0, 0. So if I make this a snapshot, hold shift and option, watch the display. Down the bottom it says stored song snapshot. Okay. So if I alter this, if I bring the transpose up, now if I hold shift and edit, it will go back to the snapshot I saved. So it's really great for, saving different transpositions. You could change the tempo and bring it back, and it works on the project page, it works on the mixer page, and it works on the effects page. As far as I'm aware, it only does one snapshot, but that's quite handy for a quick change and coming back. Almost like an undo, but not quite. The rest of the song, of course, was just a typical bass drum pattern. This one, and it was a nice toppy snare, hi-hat off the beat. I used this wave synth to do this one note thing. Again, loads of delay, usual stuff. But I think the overall effect was really good. I won't play the whole thing on here because there's a video where you can see the whole thing. I just really wanted to give you a bit of a clue on how I put this thing together. So a big thank you to Dash Glitch and to Jeremy Blake and to Mikey303 and everyone else who I've learnt from. And hopefully it might be a few people out there might be learning from my videos. One other thing I wanted to show you was for extra post-production mangling, I use Reason. And I'll show you what I'm doing here. If I just go to it, I've got the sound of the M8 going into my Reason software. If you don't know Reason, it's a sequencer. So this is the rack view, and you can see I've just got this one channel that I'm playing the M8 through, and I've got all these effects on here. So if I run my M8 sequence and just put a few of these effects in, you'll see what happens. So some chorus. And off. And some extra delay. Delete it. And we have a scream for phaser maybe. But best of all, we have this beat repeater which is on a combinator. If you know Reason, you know it has this thing called the combinator, and this is a lot of fun. I've got this mapped to a keyboard normally, but I'm just using my trackpad to do this at the moment. Watch what happens. That's a lot of fun, isn't it? I discovered this effects package the other day called Turnado, and which is obviously a pun on tornado. And it looks a bit Mickey Mouse. It looks a bit sort of childish and babyish, and it's very old. It's about 12 years old, but it's 8 effects in one. And I've got this mapped to my keyboard. I haven't got my keyboard out, so I can't show you that this morning, but my 8 rotaries on my FL Keys 37, I've got mapped to these 8 effects here, so I can turn them up and down. If I run the sequence, you'll see the sort of thing it does. It's rather good. So you can add more than one at a time. This is a good one. So vowels on vowels. And you can have this thing called the dictator, where you can do the whole lot all at once. Watch the dials. All manner of craziness. I'm not much of a fan of glitching to the point where the whole thing goes out of time. I know people like that kind of thing, but I don't. I try and keep it musical the whole time, and I'm still working on this. But this Turnado is amazing. And as I say, it's about 12 years old. I think I paid about the equivalent of about £80 for it, which is pretty good. Got all these different effects here, and they're all colour-coded. And you just drag them to the pad, like that, you see, and then alter it, and there's a massive amount of things you can change for each one. I haven't scratched the surface of this yet, so it's early days, but I thought I'd show you that. If you fancy getting hold of a copy of this, it's made by Sugar Bytes, do some pretty good stuff, and it's great for a bit of, you know, post-production mangling. I've literally got this running into Reason. I'm not recording it into Reason as a sequence, just running the audio in, but of course I could just record the audio of my M8 into a track on Reason. I could put it on the sequencer track like this, and then I could, you know, bring all these effects in and do automation, do all kinds of stuff. But I like the kind of live aspect of it. It's very much that DJ vibe where you're playing a track and putting effects over the top. And ideally I would have had a Pioneer RMX 1000, but they're about £610 if you can get them. And you've got the usual thing, you've got scalpers charging crazy amounts. There's one on eBay at the moment for £2,000, which is just insane and greedy as well. They're great machines, check those out. If you can get hold of one of those, it's brilliant, but I couldn't. So this is the next best thing. using the Reason rack with lots of effects I can switch on and off. Obviously you can assign these to switches and keys and dials on your master keyboard for all kinds of fun. Anyway, that's just a very quick aside. Basically the point of this video is to show you how I did the song, and I think I've probably done that fairly well. If you do have any questions, get in touch. Meantime, take care, and you'll see me in my next video.